with our membership and give us a little few updates on the project, and the membership will be curious and interested to see how everything is going and what's been done so far. So I just have a few just general questions just to get the conversation started, and I'll let you take over and give us an update on what you've been working on and how things are looking on the ground there. So first question, I just like for our audience and for our members, if you could just give the team just a little bit of background about the both of you and your organization, Wellfound.
Yeah, Wellfound has been working in Guinea-Bissau since 2009, and we have worked in over 92 villages, primarily providing water, sanitation, agriculture, but now we are also now focusing on nutrition and climate change work. Our approach is like working in very remote places, is to give communities the ownership rather than a solution by ourselves. So we take our time to make sure the community understands what they are signing up for. Therefore, it is much more sustainable. I'll share a few things towards the my presentation that what we mean by that. So we have a team in Guinea-Bissau, not a massive team, 7 staff working across a number of villages. I visit from UK once or twice a year to look at the progress of the project, but also look at potential partners and get more understanding of the needs, and try and kind of bring as much as resources for Guinea-Bissau. From a funding perspective, compared to other development funding opportunities for other countries, Guinea-Bissau, I would say, receives the least amount of money, which is, first of all, it is a small country with a small population. Therefore, the visibility per se for bigger people is not much. So it doesn't make any business sense for them to come and invest a lot of money. So it loses that. But also the government structures and the way communities have dispersed is also quite difficult to deliver programs. So that's why we have gone from village to village approach, which is much more stronger, closer. We also understand the tribal and cultural issues very carefully, and have people like Joao who have much more better experience on the community they serve rather than us, who you would see from a superficial way, and penetrate deep under those issues and try to change communities. That's what we do. If I quickly share a little presentation that I've prepared from my visit now, that kind of tells you what we've been kind of from my visit in the last couple of 3 weeks now. Would be good to see, and then I'll get back to see that. Right, so this is one of the new villages. It's on the way to Tchockmon anyway. It's very close
to Tchockmon, yeah.
Yeah, to Tchockmon. Is one of the new wells that we have done. So we were there looking at the structure, and this is pretty much what we would expect to happen in Tchockmon.
Okay, and where is this system set up now? What village is it?
It's called Kabam. It's on Kabam.
Kabam, okay.
It's just on the main road. If you just go another 500, 600 meters, you take left and then you go into Tchockmon. So it is not too far. So this is a structure we are kind of implementing nowadays, and we had a number of community consultations. So the key thing for me is to understand exactly what their issues were, how did they participate, what their vision is, what their future plans are. For me, it's very important to understand that, therefore we can give the right support to people. All they need is support and guidance in this context. This is a familiar place for yourself, like Bisunaga. It's still flourishing, doing fantastically well. I always kind of go and look at it, what new things they've been doing. So they have drilled a new well further down, but also they are looking at upgrading that into a solar system. So this is what I meant by sustainability, because the funds have always been raised by their own community. So we provided the seed funding, and then we work with them for further development, with the view of them raising the funds for what they want to do for their own communities.
Okay, and if I could, so what ways do you have, or do you propose for them to develop or create the funds for the sustainment of the systems and the projects that you implement?
Right. So first of all, we set up a number of committees, provide them, that is not challenging the existing governance within the village, but it's something separate which has more representation from women, men, elderly, young people, and so on and so on. Therefore, we can instill the vision that's prevalent in the villages. So, and then what we say is, this is what we are proposing to do as an organization. And from there onwards, if they want to have anything, whether that be building a school or extending a water point or whatever that might be, they will work out a budget. We will help them to work out the budget, and they will work out how much money they should be saving over what time, and how much money each household should be contributing. And so on and so forth. So this one takes about 3 years, 2 years, depends on it. But nowadays, the communities have seen the changes quite quickly, so their saving ratio is much more faster. So especially during cashew season, they tend to put more funds towards development. So which is a very positive thing.
Okay. Yeah, and this particular well set up in Bisunaga is one that some of our members saw several years ago, and we have been trying to actually, I think I told you that, trying to find the organization responsible for implementing this solution here, and it was kind of a coincidence that we were able to connect, and that you were the ones who installed this solution. So so yeah, this was kind of our brain, what we had in our mind for Tchockmon, this setup.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll be there, and this is another same place, Bisunaga, where the community have repaired the school and painted them with their own money, so not relying on anybody. So it kind of shows the trend of what they would like to have in their villages. And all we started to work is to provide some seed programs, and then the guidance and support that went through. So that's what WellFound does, like try and stay with communities as long as needed, and so on and so forth. This is another village where you could potentially see some men standing outside whilst women working inside. It shows more of the women empowerment work that has gone into, which I will show you. So this is one of the market gardens. So which we went unannounced.
Mm.
And
What are they growing there?
Tomatoes.
They're growing all sort of things like tomatoes, pepper. You can see here.
Okay.
Yeah, okra. So that's a different system what we implement. For example, we bring 30 to 35 women dedicated to or committed to this particular activity, and try and train them, give them the right skills, the tools, and the marketing opportunity for them to kind of prosper through other means, not only relying on, for example, cashew, which is once a year episode. So this is one of the aspects that we work with and see quite a lot of tomatoes. People are quite good quality. These are all organic. And also we have seen the impact of potential climate change issues where there's a lot of deforestation happens. Obviously, for them to kind of cook, they have to rely on firewood like this. So is no point saying not to use it. We need to find a solution and give alternate for them to cook their food and so on and so forth. So it's another aspect. We welcome ideas and support from people abroad who can bring innovative ideas and technology which can be replicated in a village setting. So we can't just simply say have a gas plant or whatever. So we need to find an innovative solution. Therefore, the region where we are working in the area where Tchockmon and others is very likely to have an impact on climate change and the groundwater level in the next 5 to 10 years. So it's very eminent. So we need to kind of find ways to make communities more resilient to such things. So work needs to start now. So we're looking at options, but also it's something for the community in the US from Guinea-Bissau to come up with any research or ideas that they can see fit for, so we can try and look into it. Okay. And then we started a new well a couple of weeks ago, and we had some visitors from UK. And you can see the community is fully involved in the process. Fully involved in the process. Now, this is what we would possibly expect from Tchockmon, and Joao will explain it later, that we don't go for very mechanical drillings or other means, because that way we lose the interaction with the community. Because if something comes in, drills and walks away, and they get the water, and that's it. So this way, there is more hard work. There is coordination, there is a commitment, and so on and so forth. So
yeah, more investment into the project, right?
So the money that has been invested, every dollar is being valued by the community. So we tell them the cost of the well, $9,000, and they say that in their lifetime they may not be able to save that money in order to go the well immediately. Because they have to work, they have to still go and fetch water from unusual sources. So it's important that every member of the community understands the importance of like participation, looking after it, and also they learn the technique. And therefore, we will find 1 or 2 people from the community who have that technical mindset and then use them in the future drilling process. So this is one of the schools by then. So and also we've seen people doing small scale activities like making salt. It's all in that area. And also we saw we went to the islands. It was pretty long walk. Again, we saw some of the projects that we started 6-7 years ago.
Mm.
is kept really well. People are using it. All these visits are unannounced, so just go. They've been washing their vessels very clearly. You can see they have closed the bucket whilst collecting the water to make sure there's no contamination. So the health promotion aspect goes quite a long way into the communities. And this is an interesting thing in one of the islands, where this is one of the wells that were found built a long time ago. So, and it was not used and it was derelict. And the story behind that is, I'll tell you in the next picture, is that, like, you might think that, oh, well, this is probably the common scene that we would normally see in most African villages, like farms don't working, it's been left over, communities, organizations come and do something and walk away. But I thought it might be the same scenario here. So, but to my surprise, they said they're not using that well. Instead, they have saved enough money to upgrade into a solar system themselves. Joao and the team kept this as a secret for me to be a bit annoyed in the forefront, but they showed me, you just wait and see what happens. So it was a pleasant surprise. And then they took me to the market garden in the same village, where I tried my drone for the first time and about to lose it. But you can see, if you know the thing, but they have created this market garden further in themselves with their own funds. Can you imagine?
Okay.
Own funds.
Wow.
So, all we did was, while speaking to people, all we did was provided them the guidance, the support, the technical input, and the vision for them to have something. So now they know that they want to increase the size of the garden, and therefore they have enough money, they've saved money to buy a much more powerful water pump, which they have asked us to help with purchasing, but also towards installation, which we would be very delighted to do so. Right. It kind of tells you a story of, like, the more time we spend with communities and help them kind of materialize their vision, makes things possible. So it's the mindset. They need the initial investment. Definitely, it's not possible without which, and from there things moves on. And this is in the islands, and it's similar situation. I'll show you. So I went to Tchockmon. This is, it's familiar thing for yourself.
Yes.
And they're still using the same well.
Right. Yeah, we're familiar with that well system. I've seen it myself.
And let me show you. And this young child was, like, fetching water. In the middle of the day. It's really, and the water level was very, very, very low. Yeah, the situation is pretty similar. Let me show you a few more things. I took some photos of the village. I'll send you these pictures through WhatsApp. But just to kind of show you, things are still remaining the same. Now, this is the kind of a meeting that we had with few people, some key people who were there, because we didn't announce and go, we just wanted to go and see what's happening. So Joe, I want to kind of give some update on where we are with the village and the plans.
Yeah, with these people, Tchockmon, normally we start with building latrines. At this moment, they are building latrines. So the day we went there, what they told us that they are remain with 5 to be built. to complete the whole area.
Okay.
That is to cover all. So normally we ask them to do that because that is part of the process. And that is part of our method of work. And we are happy that they are remain with only 5 to be completed. Hopefully it will be, they say that maybe this week they will complete everything.
So they'll have five latrines built this week. You said they'll have those completed this week?
I mean, only 5 remain.
5 remaining. 5.
Yeah.
Out of how many total latrines have they?
They have about 45.
45. Okay.
Yeah. Meaning that each house should have a latrine. When you go to a house, they have their own latrine now.
Okay. And these are located outside. These are outside latrines, correct? So they're
yes.
So, okay. So located outside
of the houses they have. So
right.
It should be outside. Yeah.
Okay. So now that's wonderful. So every house should now have a latrine.
Yes.
Okay. Good news. Good news.
And that means that when they complete the 5, they will only wait for the well to be constructed.
Okay.
And then it will come market garden.
Okay. So those are
the process is like, even though we know that there is a need for a well, health and sanitation and hygiene is very important, because we don't want them to hold on to old habits and fall ill, even though they have clean water.
Right.
If they don't know how to handle water, if they're still openly defecating, if they're not washing their hands, not storing water clearly and properly, if the sense of being healthy is not there, then having clean water doesn't make any difference. So that's why we emphasize and start with the very challenging aspect of the project for them to encourage them to build latrines. Now, Tchockmon, I understand, had a bit of a challenge because some people don't want to do it. Or they will say, well, I'll do it later, do that and this. But we never, ever start the well process until all the communities have a latrine. So it's a tough choice for them to make, whether they build one or not, get the well. It's up to them. Because once that has been established in that process, we teach them hand washing, we teach them keeping water clean, using different vessels to kind of handle water. Even though with the well you have clean water, when they are not properly treating and using it, then it's going to get contaminated anyway. So it defeats the purpose. So we are very strict and adamant that communities do that. And then we go into the drilling process of getting water and provide them with 1 or 2 sources point of access point, but also let the community decide if they want to extend the pipes further down with their own money. So have you started the micro savings scheme?
Yes, because this last time we visited there, you could see the management committee. They are very engaged. It's like when we arrived, so they started coming to narrate what they have been doing, the stage where they are. So the secretary was there and the vice president was there of the management committee. So he started explaining everything, meaning that they have things, they are working. Yeah, they are working and they are serious. They really want it. They want it to happen quickly. They want things to happen quickly. They want to see development of the area, Even they cleared the place already. Until they say they cleared it before, they were thinking that we were coming with the well quickly. I say, how will we come? We still have 5 latrines to complete. So those are the challenges we create among them. And then it's like telling them that you need to do quick, otherwise other villages, they will be ahead of you.
Right.
You see, we try to create that so that they will know that things we are serious, you know, we
Yes.
mean it. Yeah,
Mm.
we're serious.
So it's pretty much in that particular stage, and I witnessed the communities. They are very well kind of. I think they have. How would I put it? Is they have kind of addressed their differences among themselves and realized that it's important that everybody should come together and do something together in order to get certain activities. So that's the approach that we always kind of take on. But also they have seen the new well across their road. So it's a bit of a embarrassment for them because that village was chosen later, but they built everything very quickly as compared to. So it's a bit of an embarrassment, but which is a positive thing.
Right. No, motivator. It's a motivating factor, you know, to get them, you know, encouraged and, you know, kind of incentivized to complete the project. Yeah.
Yeah, and when people from Tchockmon, how do you have a well there? And we simply say, well, they built latrines before you, so they get it. So so they know the results and they can go verify and talk to people, and we're not lying, which is fact.
Right.
That kind of keeps the momentum going. I think the community is ready. And in about like 2-3 weeks, the team that is drilling will also be ready because I have to do one more project before end of March. Yeah, it's how we go from there.
Okay. Yeah. So once the well is erected and is completed, can you kind of give us a idea about, you know, how that will directly impact just the overall quality of life, the effort that, you know, that's currently being utilized to draw well and keep water in the homes, how that would be, you know, offset or how that will be aided by this new well system?
Well, the water is a tool. So the impact that sometimes once you have done the well, the talk about water often vanishes, which is a good thing because it's there on their doorstep. They drink, do whatever. So we make sure that they save water properly, drink water properly, and utilize water properly. And then what they often do is to kind of think the other things that they would like to do for the community. For example, they start the market garden side of it. And that's where you start beginning to see the impact of it. Like, first of all, there's a direct health impact, which is a positive thing. We're not going to expect people falling in from diarrhea or other things as a direct impact. We are going to expect, with the sanitation and the clean water, the people who are falling ill will be significantly lower, which we can quantify. We can show how the income has grown within families from market garden activities. We can show how communities have come together to kind of come up with new ideas, whether they would like to improve their community. I know that Tchockmon loves football. They might probably have a new thing or a new bench or whatever. So you can see little things cropping here and there. But people often forget about water. But we know that that's what brought all those things together. Because, I mean, you saw that little child. She could be learning, or she could be working in the market garden supporting a mother instead of fetching water. So the time that is being made available by the access of water is quite significant, and people start to do different things. So that's how you would possibly quantify, and we can show you the difference in the next year when things come up, which we always monitor anyway.
Okay.
And you pick up that model and then you replicate that. So yeah, that would be an interesting way of working. So that's what we do. So people see from one community what they have been doing, the learnings, the good and the bad, and try to avoid the bad and come up with new ideas for the next community. So it keeps going in a very positive way. And I personally very impressed by the community's ability to stick on to their vision and not to give up, and try and do something better for themselves, like not to rely on organizations like us for a long time, except for advice and support and guidance. So, or technical input if they need it, which is a fair play, I suppose. I think it is a fair action. But Tchockmon was very energetic community, was very energetic. I can see them doing well. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of maintenance on the systems, is this something that the community themselves would be able to perform ongoing maintenance, and what about spare parts and things of that nature? What is the kind of feedback system, if something were to be damaged on it, how quickly or how accessible are spare parts, things of that nature?
Yeah, this is what we normally do with management committee, because the committee we created in the village, also these people are included, technicians, local technicians. The purpose of those local technicians, they are the one in charge of controlling the system, water system. And so what we try to guide them in is to be able to have a spare part in the villages, to have the tools in the villages, and we teach them, we train them how to replace all those things. For instance, the taps, when they are broken, they themselves, they do the repair. So we do all those training, and they themselves, they have backup parts in the villages. So whenever the system has problem, so they can solve it quickly. Because normally the deposit tank we are going to put there, it will always have water. And when the system has a problem, while they are fixing, water will be still there for at least maybe 2 hours or 5 hours before they finish repairing it. Yeah, that's it. So we form all the teams, they are part of this management committee. That is how we say.
And in the first year, we visit villages quite often, probably twice a month, to make sure the management committee is working good. The bylaws, the laws created by themselves is adhered to. We look at the minutes of the committee meetings, the issues that has been coming up, how they resolved it. We don't police, but we just keep an eye. Also, like if there is an issue in terms of like not following the rules, we try to kind of discipline them a bit. Yeah, it's pretty much like giving that kind of support for the first year, and then we kind of reduce the frequency, but we often go there like once every 2 months or whatever to make sure things are happening. And since we work in that particular area, we definitely will see the villagers at least 2-3 times a year, at least. But if there is any issues, they always call us.
Yeah,
they always call us.
Okay, no, that's good to know. And so I saw from some of the other villages that there was one of the villages you showed that there was a school. Now, was that school? It was there before you all arrived, but you all, was that something that you helped to update and bring? Looked like it was freshly painted and it may have had like a new roof on it. Did you all have any part in that particular project?
No. Yes and no, in the sense like the school was pretty derelict, and part of their community savings, they thought it's not right for it's one of the initiative taken by the community themselves. So they bought their own cement, they bought their paintings, and they did it themselves.
Yes.
This is what I meant by, because if they hadn't had water, all these kind of knock-on
Sure.
impact that have happened. So,
Yeah.
but they're not talking about water now.
Right.
Because
They
something
can focus.
else.
Yeah,
Cannot
on
be
other
talked
things.
about well, or they're talking about a new leisure center or a disco place or a school or whatever that might be. I mean, it's fine. Whatever
Right.
and they save money and they ask, okay, fine, to do this, how much do you think we would? We help them to estimate, work out. Okay, each household should save like 500,000 safer or 200,000 safer over the next 3 years to do that, and they work on it.
Mhm.
And then call us, okay, Joe, I'll come. I mean, we got the money, so
Yeah,
Right.
But that could be always the question, like, why couldn't they do this to get their first tour? But that's impossible.
Mhm.
That wouldn't work that way, because just because they had the time that came from the water, the help that they gained, the coordination and the knowledge and the management and the governance that they gained through this process, which made the others possible. But yeah, you can't just kind of knock one to get the other one.
Right. Right. Yeah, I know. I'm sure you all have seen the school building in Tchockmon. It's not operational, or wasn't, at least last time I visited the village. But there is a building that used to be a school in Tchockmon. So
Oh, yeah, we saw it. Yeah,
we saw that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they will come up with some plans. I mean, they might probably come up with some plans to kind of upgrade it, put some solar systems or whatever. So it's a conversation that the community will have themselves and evolve over time. So which is a positive thing.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So what are some things that our organization can assist with in terms of helping to move the project along? You all met Mario; he's on the ground there. I think Joel, you met Mario and had speak with him. So yeah, he's in Guinea-Bissau. So is there anything? Of course we've talked about our contribution in terms of assisting with the funding, but are there any other things that you look for when you partner with other non-governmental organizations?
Well, I mean, the first thing would be useful is to kind of confirm some form of funding for the well, so that we can purchase materials and so on and so forth. So the critical thing which I'm observing is that the cost of materials like changing day by day. So the quotation that I would have for like $10,000, $11,000 in about a week's time, it turns into $13,000.
Wow. Okay.
It's quite significant and quite worrying. So as a priority, I mean, if you can raise the funds to make sure the equipments could be bought as soon as possible, so we keep it and use it when the time is right. We have a container where we can keep it securely and safely. So that can prevent any inflationary issues that the budget would have.
Okay.
So that would be good as a priority. To the other questions is that, well, it's up to what like Guinea-Bissau people who are abroad would like to do.
Right.
And we can present the things like, for example, the time that we are spending in Tchockmon is being funded by some other grant thing which we are trying to do. Like, I mean, the transport, the petrol and Joel's time and all sort of things. Apart from that we put it as our contribution, but there are other capital that we might probably be useful for the communities to raise, for example, fencing or organic seeds or tools to start with. It doesn't have to be completely, we can share what each village might possibly need, and you can think about, well, we could probably like say, for example, each family can contribute for a 2 meters of fence, which might be $20 or something like that. So I don't know. We can break that into smaller chunks, or buy a woman $20 worth of seeds, organic seeds, so that they can reuse it for 3-4 times, because we teach them how to harvest seeds and keep that for the future. So we can break that down into smaller chunks, and anything that you could support would be going directly to the project. So there's nothing takes on. Our commitment is that to make sure that community makes the best out of all the investment that goes into those communities, and be a very good example to future communities to come. So normally what we do is any communities who have done really well, we take them to new communities and ask them to give a talk about what the process has been. So it's more of a peer-to-peer mentoring rather than we saying or preaching. So we want Tchockmon to come up to other communities and say, this is the process we went through, this is how we did it, and this is how we did it. And if you just follow these things, you're going to be better than us. So which is a much more nicer way of doing it.
Right.
But I mean, you could try and work it out as a pilot as far as Tchockmon is concerned, rather than kind of jumping into all possible directions. The community will come up with certain plans. Maybe they want to paint their school or have a little football pitch redone or whatever, I don't know. And then you can possibly support that process, not necessarily through us, but directly to the management committee. But we can look into the core aspect of the program, like the market garden, the sanitation, health, and the water.
Right.
And if you want to kind of continue the work or continue the model into other villages, I mean, we've got about 78 villages in our waiting list. You see what I mean? So then we can move gradually. I mean, I don't see them getting water in near future unless otherwise someone does anything about it.
Right.
So, but it's a process, no pressure, but it's a process and learning and commitment. There are ways we can do fundraising. For example, we can link up schools from US to those local schools. And our children go there. I mean, the number of things we waste on pens and papers and stuff like that. If we save that money, can be saved and sent to for them to buy stationaries or blackboard or benches or whatever. So there are different ways how you can kind of link. What we don't want to do in fundraising is that, like, someone thinking that if I just give $10 means that I've solved that problem.
Sure.
So we don't want them to think that. It's what we want to think is that if I give $10, if that is what I could potentially do, is I'm being part of that solution, rather than I resolve that community's problem. So that's kind of a Western mindset in a way that just donating £10, £20 means that the problem is solved. We take time, and when we do fundraising, we need to make them realize it's a bigger problem where you're contributing towards a solution rather than that's the solution.
Right. No, understood. And that's kind of what we want to, we understand that these projects need to be funded and they need seed money, but we don't want to be or facilitate a continuous model where these villages are always relying on charity for their sustainment. We want them to be in a position where once they get their most pressing kind of concerns met, that they're able to eventually fully sustain themselves. Understanding that where support and assistance can be gotten, it's welcomed, but not necessarily necessary, right?
No. So, I mean, I would say once the basics has been done, I think we need to let the community run its own, and we focus on a new one. Because like then you're kind of making them dependent on someone else.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just say like we've done, you got your water, you got your market garden, you got your management structure sorted, you're saving regularly. Just get on with it and do what is best for your community, and we just go to the next one.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's important that we don't get emotionally attached to it.
Right. So I'll give you a history. I think we talked about it, Dr. Kingsley, but just for people who this might be their first time hearing about, our organization has a kind of a connection with Tchockmon, which is why I reached out to you and you know, for that village specifically. You know, I'm African American, born and raised in the United States, but I learned my genetic ancestry was to the Balanta people in Guinea-Bissau. Now, African Americans, one of the first African American who had discovered his ancestry being Balanta, the first place he returned was Tchockmon. Right, and so Tchockmon welcomed him. They gave him a name, and at that time, you know, he said, he made a promise to him that, you know, my brothers and sisters, you know, in America will come back. We will visit. We will help you. So I might be the first, but I won't be the last. So he made that promise to Tchockmon, and so our organization is, you know, he's an ancestor now, and he's actually buried in Tchockmon. So his ashes were returned to Tchockmon village. And so we're here to kind of fulfill that specific promise that he made to Tchockmon with, you know, coming back. And so we've been doing that pretty consistently to Tchockmon for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. I think his first visit was about 10 years ago. So that's a connection. Now we do have, you know, members who've been all over and who are, you know, of other ancestry, Jola and Fula, and they've made trips to those respective villages, and other Balanta who have connections in other villages. But that was our kind of initial kind of want to begin in Tchockmon with our direct, call it aid or assistance, just fulfilling that promise.
No, it's fantastic. It's a very good, powerful background, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's interesting, and it's useful for Joao and the team to understand that, because when we run workshops, when we speak to communities, you can see and we can emphasize the reason why these things are coming. And it has a much more better meaning than it's been superficially seen as just a well and a latrine.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yes. So I'm out of questions. I definitely appreciate you all sharing this information. And if you have any last words, comments that you wanna leave our members and everyone who may see this video with, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Yeah, you see, you know, I'm very happy to hear the story. So meaning that I'm going to take it back to them when we have the meeting with them to let them know. We did talk to them just a little bit before I know about this. So we explained to them that, hey, these people are doing this. So we have a say that if someone is washing your back, make sure you wash your belly.
Okay.
That is, yeah. This is what we have been talking to them. So adding this story to it will make it more, you know.
Yes.
Will have a great impact on them. And then, yeah, I'm sure is the little we are going to do there, so they'll do more. Sure, yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, so we've got a number of you know, individuals who, like I said, have been to Tchockmon and who I participated in the naming ceremony. My Balanta name is Midana, and so we've got a number of African Americans who have a close connection, who visited Tchockmon. and who desire to aid in every way, any way they can. So
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
yes. So
Oh, thank you very much, man.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep talking through text and other things. So
Yes.
we'll work out the timeline, and then that would be great. Fantastic.
Okay.
And we should-
All right. Greatly appreciate it, gentlemen. I appreciate your time this evening and look forward to speaking with you. And just how long will you be in Guinea-Bissau?
Myself,
Yeah.
I'm back to England this Saturday.
Okay, this Saturday. Okay.
I've been here 20 days.
Mm.
Nearly.
Oh, wow. All right. Long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't even have a proper meeting with Joao yet.
Yeah. I don't know.
Up and down everywhere, so it's very busy. But
Yeah.
it's Guinea-Bissau is getting better. Getting better. There's some new roads coming up. So there are opportunities arising. So I've been traveling here pretty much in the last 10 years regularly, and every year I see some good progress.
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of infrastructure work going on, and yeah, that's some good time to come for the people of Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I won't keep you any longer. I appreciate the time this afternoon. Look forward to speaking with you.
Great. Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll send the photos and videos on WhatsApp.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Latte Sim.
Nice.
Ciao, ciao.